All right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Eggs and Issues, a special edition. I'm Joe Rozak, former president of the Bremerton Chamber of Commerce, and I want to welcome you this morning to our show. So with that, we are going to quickly go over some quick rules of the road. For those who won't need to know, the bathrooms are down in that hallway. In case of an emergency fire or an earthquake, we exit either through this door or both doors will take you out to another exit way. Another thing to ask is that if you have one of those rectangular things in your pocket, purse, or side pocket, is please put it on vibrate or silence so we don't interrupt the speakers for today. And if you do interrupt the speakers, we do ask that to make a $10 voluntary donation to this month.
American Red Cross.
The American Red Cross will gladly accept your $10 voluntary donation, of which we ask that you make. So with that, we're fortunate to have both our Police Fire Chief Al Duke joining us, as well as Greg Wheeler from the Bremerton City Council. And first of all, we're going to begin for each candidate. Since we have no opposition to this levy at this time, we'll ask them to have up to 3 minutes. They can, from their perspective, why this proposition is so important to this area. And then we'll go, we do actually have questions that we'll ask them. We'll each have a minute to answer the questions, and then we'll do a 2-minute closing. So with that, since we begin alphabetically, Al, you get to start out first, so up to 3 minutes, please.
Sure, thank you. Thank you very much for inviting me. This is the first time I've been to Eggs and Issues, and I appreciate it. On the ballot this November is the Proposition 1, the ballot measure for public safety. And on that ballot is a number of pieces of equipment and station upgrades. So the way we've done it in the past since 1980 is we've purchased all our vehicles, large vehicles, on the bond. It started in '79 when we purchased 2 fire stations and bought new equipment. Then again in 1991 we replaced our fleet again. In 2002 we replaced our fleet again and built our new fire station on Park Avenue. This levy will again replace the vehicles, so we will purchase a new ladder truck and 2 engines, and those vehicles that are first out now will go back in reserve. So the engines we purchased in 1991 will go out the door. And by the time we get those engines purchased, those engines will be 25 years old. And then on the ballot also is the upgrade of our 2 outlying stations that we built in 1980 and 1981. And they haven't had any major upgrades since we built those fire stations, except for our new roofs, and we did a couple remodeling. So in that station we have 1 large sleeping room, so everybody sleeps in the same dorm, and everybody uses the same bathrooms and showers, so it's like a group shower. And now the new station has individual dorms and individual showers, which delays a lot of issues that we have with that, especially when we had women firefighters on the force. The rest of there's a small amount for equipment that goes on those engines. All of our air packs will be replaced, and also we will replace our command vehicle and a few staff cars. And the reason we're doing that, we usually don't do that, but in 2008 with the downturn in the economy, $1 million was taken out of the vehicle replacement fund, and that was to replace those vehicles. So we're getting 2 new ambulances. We have 5 ambulances right now. Our oldest one is a 2001, and then we have a 2004, 2006, 2008, and then we didn't get another one until 2014. So we are going to replace the 2 oldest ones here with this levy. And with that, a couple of other points that you'd probably be interested in is what is it going to cost you. At the beginning of the bond, it's a 10-year bond. When we start the bond, it's going to be 22 cents per thousand. If you have the average priced home in Bremerton is $161,000 according to the assessor. That will cost you $35 a year and it averages out to $2.96 a month. And with that, I'll stand by for questions.
Thank you. Okay, and Greg, from your perspective.
All right, thank you. So, good morning, I'm Greg Wheeler. I do represent District 4 in the city of Bremerton. I'm the city council president. So this, the reason this levy is important is it gets right to what most folks want to see from their public officials and from their city staff, and that's good public safety, strong public safety. Personally, when I go to doorsteps, when I talk with people, they want to hear that I care about safety, about public safety. And frankly, that does get down to the root of one of our core services that we provide here at the city. Our firefighters have proven to be good stewards of tax dollars. They are professional, and they produce results. When we talk about equipment and how important it is, it's one of the two most important things I think we can provide firefighters. We provide opportunity for training, and we provide good equipment. Both of those our firefighters rely on. When you have somebody who's going to rescue you, who's going to go into a burning building, you want to ensure they have top-notch equipment. And it's our council's responsibility to ensure that happens and to ensure the funding is in place. This levy, we're going out to the public because, frankly, it does take a little bit of extra funding to ensure to get the capital improvements we need. The ladder truck, the fire engines, the breathing apparatus, the walkie-talkies, the fire station upgrades. These are all very important to ensuring we maintain that high level of public safety that our city enjoys. I just want to close by saying, Chief, I think you and the fire department are top-notch. In fact, you're the best. And our city appreciates it. Our council appreciates it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So now we'll move into our questions, which will allow no more than a minute per question. Some of the questions will be probably less than a minute. Some could possibly go longer. And the first two questions are going to, actually, I'm just going to ask, you've already addressed this, but just for the sake of the audience, we'll have it repeated. And so I'm going to start with Greg, and this is just a real quick question for you to answer. Then I have a quick question for the chief to answer. And that is, how many years does this levy run for?
This is a 10-year levy, and after talking with Chief Duke, the levies are designed to last as long as the equipment will last, is estimated to last. So, but short answer, it's a 10-year levy.
Thank you. And then Chief Duke, I know you mentioned this in your earlier remarks, but again, just to clarify for our audience, how much will this levy cost the average taxpayer or homeowner per year?
Okay, if you have a $100,000 home, it's going to cost you $2.96 a month, or I'd have to do the math.
Okay. Thank you. So the next question is, and I guess we'll go with Chief Duke and then go to Greg if we need to. But the question is, are there any current bonds or levies? If so, when do they expire, and how much per $1,000 assessed value is it? So that might be a little comprehensive. So the first part of that question, are there any other current bonds or levies in place at this time?
There's one in place this time, the 2002 levy that purchased the new fire station, the new police station, the new court, is still in effect. And that one will be expiring probably at the same time this one was in 2015. And I don't have the numbers on that, but I can get them for you.
No worries on that. Greg, do you have any more to add to that question?
No, other than the fire station and the court have both been valuable public features. They've really enhanced our community. And I just appreciate that the voters approved those levies in the past. And I can say that from folks I've talked with, it was a very smart choice.
Very good. So most of the lot of these questions I think probably be the chief will probably get first shot at it, because it really addresses your business, and then we'll go to Greg for a follow-up or from a different perspective if we may. So, for example, the question is for you, Chief, is what is the standard number of years for fire engine replacement? Folks would like to know.
Yeah.
How long do these things last?
These actually last 25 years. So we just went through a recent rating of the fire department. The insurance bureau comes in and rates each fire department. So if you have a vehicle that's 25 years or older, you do not get any credit for having that vehicle. So the way we work it is we get a new vehicle, it'll be first line for at least 12 to 13 years, maybe longer. Because if we were to order the engines today, it would take us a year before we ever got that engine. It takes them a year to do that. When the new engine comes in, the vehicle that we have that's in first line goes with backup. So when you call 911, they don't want to hear, oh, our engine broke, it won't start, we can't come. What we do is then we automatically jump into the other vehicle and take off, so there's no delay. Also, when the first line engines actually go in to get serviced, they get serviced at least once a month. The backup engine's there. If we have an incident such as Motel 6, when the off-duty people come in, because we still have to take care of the rest of the people, they jump on that backup engine. So 25 years is the industry standard.
Okay. Any comments to add to that?
No, other than once you get to 25 years, I think it's time to replace it. And frankly, these have to run and be at full efficiency when they're out in the field protecting us.
All right, so the next question we have, which also I'm curious about, is if we buy all these new, the audience member refers to them as toys, but if we buy all these new equipment and stuff that costs so much money, what actually happens to the old ones? Is there a trade-in value that happens to those? So I'll start with you, Greg.
Well, first off, these are not toys. This is equipment that is meant to save lives. So as far as the trade-in value, there is, our council thoroughly quizzed our fire chief prior to approving this levy to go onto the ballot. But there is some resale value to them. There are communities that don't have to respond to fires as often as our city does. They could, a rural community could put something like this to use for a few more years. And it would be of value to them. Obviously, for a full-service city like ours moving forward, that scenario does not fit. That's why we need new equipment. But there is resale value out there for some of the rural communities that aren't as busy.
Thank you. Do you have any more to add to that, Chief?
Yeah, the resale value is not as high as the new engine. In the past, a lot of contractors would buy the engine because when they were doing land clearing, they needed water and a source, so they would buy one of the used engines at that time. And so as they get older too, the maintenance costs start to skyrocket, and so they get really spendy.
So that actually is a good response to that. Leads to the next question, which is, the question simply is our equipment properly maintained? Which kind of leads to the question, if so, does that extend its lifespan, or is this set in statute that it's like 25 years?
There's a number of issues that we look at. Our vehicles have to be maintained once a month. They go to fleet, and there's certain safety items that they constantly look at, such as brakes in different areas on the vehicle. So once a month, it does get inspected. I actually keep a log of every vehicle that we have, and I watch the trends on the vehicle, looking for when the maintenance costs are starting to get higher and higher. And at that point, we start considering whether we need to replace it or we're going to continue to fix it. So most vehicles, my own home vehicle, I got a car that has 150,000 miles on it, and I don't plan on replacing it. But I don't respond to emergencies with my own private vehicle. And so These usually get about 100,000 miles on them when we start to look at them. Then the mileage, the repair costs is what we look at when we start to replace those.
Right.
So the, just from my own personal observation, the firefighters take a lot of pride in what they do down at the fire station. They're skilled. There's folks that are skilled with maintenance, and it's the maintenance costs and how much they do. I tell you what, I trust my lives with the maintenance schedule and the way they keep up with those engines and all their vehicles and equipment. So, yeah, they do a great job.
Great, thank you. So this is a follow-up question to your opening statement, Chief, but we'll let Greg start off with. And the questions from the audience simply is, why should we refurbish the personnel areas at this time?
Sorry, Joe,
personnel areas, why should we remodel?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The the fire stations right now are the way they're set up. They're only meant for one gender. When we refurbish these, we can actually have hire women. A city that's moving forward wants to be able to hire women. Our fire department wants to be able to hire women. You do not want to exclude that from your workforce, because frankly we'll get more talent. There's more opportunities for diversity and talent, skill levels. So this is very important. It's an important feature. I'm glad that Chief Duke and the fire department are presenting this, and I think it is a sign of the city moving forward.
Thank you. Chief Duke, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, so everybody's sleeping in one area does create issues. There's different sounds that come out when people are sleeping. Some people snore. We've actually thrown people out of the bunk room because they keep everybody else awake. And then group showers are not the way of this age. So we have one shower that has 3 showers and everybody stands there together and showers. And so our plan is to modernize that and have individual showers.
All right, thank you. So this is just a simple numerical answer question, which is simply close to you, Chief, and if you have anything to add, Greg. And the question is, what is the average age of retirement for a firefighter?
That's a good question. I know we have on the workforce a couple people that are approaching 60. I haven't seen anybody retire under the age lately, probably 55. There's been a few that they're right around 55 retirement. In the old days, with the old pension system, you could retire with 25 years and get 50% of your income plus medical benefits. It's not that way now. It's you get 2% for every year you work and no medical benefits when you retire. So I'm seeing the age of firefighters before they retire start to creep up higher and higher.
Thank you for clarifying that. Greg, do you have anything to add to that question?
Not a whole lot. It's obvious that the age of firefighters creeping up is something to watch. We'll work obviously with Chief Duke on that, and it is something to keep an eye on. This is a very, very tough job. It's physical, it's demanding. Folks rely on each other in the field, and then folks like myself rely on people being able to perform. So it is a physical job. That's something to keep an eye on.
Thank you. So to you, Greg, this is again a question regarding personnel and the firefighters. The question is, 5 years ago, the average salary of the Bremerton Fire Department firefighter was $90,000 with overtime. 31 employees made over $100,000 in 2009. Shouldn't the city look at salaries and overtime costs before capital improvements? I'll do that to you, Greg, for starters. Please.
No, we need to look at both at the same time. And the overtime we did address last year, the council hired 2 entry-level firefighters, and it was long past due, but it was time. And That's an important part of any workforce, is succession planning and making sure you bring in younger folks to start to move up into the organization. And that's also a way to address the overtime issue. As far as the average cost of firefighters, my question out to anybody who would ask me this is, how much do you want to pay somebody to go into a burning building and rescue you? And what is that value? These firefighters are professionals, and their pay reflects that. I support these folks.
Thank you. And Chief Duke, do you have anything to add to that question, please?
Yeah. Fire departments and police departments are a little different than office workers. We need to have the amount of people on duty every day. So if somebody calls in sick, we can't say, oh no, we're going to shut that vehicle down and not run it today. So the way we've done it in the past is with overtime. Now the council has, this last year, like Mr. Wheeler said, has given us additional firefighters. So when they do, we have extra people when they call and say we're going to pay overtime. And as far as salaries are set, unfortunately in this state, by binding arbitration. You can negotiate to a point, and then when you come to standstill, you then go to an arbitrator who sets the salary, and the way they do that is they look at 10 comparable departments, and they use whatever the average is for those 10 comparable departments, and that's what your salary is set at. So we've not used binding arbitration in this city for 30, 40 years. We've been able to mediate the salaries amongst ourselves.
Great, thank you. So I'm down to my last two questions. And the second to last one, we start with you, Chief Duke. The question is, why do firefighters need personal vehicles provided by the city at a cost of about $47,000 each?
Oh, for the staff vehicles?
Yes, sir.
We have only 4 people that have staff vehicles, myself being one. We have 2 fire investigators, fire inspectors. And the reason we do is I come in at all different, hopefully I don't have to come in very often, but I do come in for major incidents such as the Motel 6 fire, the Arnold's fire, any fire where there's a fatality, knock on wood, we haven't had one this year, or any significant incident, so I respond from home or wherever I'm at the time. The fire investigators do the same thing. When there's a fire, we need to control the scene, do the investigation, and they respond from home at that time too.
Thank you. Greg, you have anything to add to that?
No, I just, from my perspective, the council perspective, as Chief Duke said, a lot of folks just leave straight from house to the scene. And it's important to have updated equipment to do that. So that's why we do that.
All right. So the last question that I have, and this starts with our councilman, why doesn't Bremerton apply for federal assistance to firefighters for firefighters grant?
Well, we've asked Chief Duke that we do apply for federal assistance.
So we've applied for a number of grants. We apply every year for a number of grants. And over the last 10 years, we've received $306,000 in grants for different types. We've bought extrication equipment. We've bought a number of issues with that $360,000 over the year. So, and this year we're actually applying for a regional grant with the other fire departments to buy equipment. So every year we apply, but as federal money shrinks, so do the grants shrink, and each year it gets less and less.
Great, I want to thank you all. That concludes our question and answer period. And so now we get into the 2-minute summary. So I know you started us off, so I'll let Greg start off with this, a 2-minute summary from your perspective of why this is important. Thank you.
All right, well, my opening statement, I pretty much covered why I think this is important. I understand what the citizens of Bremerton want, and they want, it's common sense, practical, good, they want strong public safety. And our citizens recognize the need for updated equipment to ensure that continues. You know, from a personal standpoint, somebody like myself, from somebody with my background, which was military way back, there's two things that folks that go into harm's way, either as a public safety official or in the military for that matter, but it's, you need training. The training has to be top notch, and your equipment, you have to be able to trust both. And that is the utmost important. That's what these folks need. And the equipment, the training's there, the equipment has been top notch. It's our responsibility to ensure it stays top notch. And because these folks are going to go into harm's way regardless. I mean, they are trained to do what they do. They have to be able to rely on their equipment. It's vitally important that we continue providing the equipment to them. And because they're top notch, these folks are top notch, and they're the best. So, again, I'm Greg Wheeler, President of the Bremerton City Council. It's been a pleasure being here. Thank you, Mr. Wolzak.
Thank you, Greg. And Chief Duke, please, concluding remarks.
I remember when I first came to the city back in the 1980s, the fire department vehicles was one of every make and model, and you never know if you got to point A or point B. And most buildings in the city that were old and dilapidated were city buildings. I think we've turned that around over the years, and now a lot of our facilities are new and modern. Our vehicles are new and they're standardized, so you don't have one oil filter fits all the vehicles instead of 3 different or 4 different oil filters. So there's economy of scale for some of those things. A couple of things that I'd like to point out. The levy, this levy needs a 60% passage. It's not a 50% measure, it's a 60% measure. And there are exemptions for people that they don't have to pay this, but you need to contact the county assessor and he'll tell you what those are. But usually the seniors are exempt from paying this if they apply for it, so I encourage you to look into that. Again, I'd like to thank the people for their confidence us in passing the past bond measures, and I look forward to this election season too also. Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you. So, Chief Duke and also Councilman Wheeler, I want to thank you for your civic community leadership. And audience members, that concludes our X and Issues, and we may now